Recently, Amazon made a fairly major change to how they are accepting certain bundles onto their platform, specifically bundles in the consumables categories, things such as grocery and pet products, etc. And that change has kind of had a ripple effect for a lot of different sellers, not just those that create branded bundles, but also those that are doing arbitrage and some wholesale if those bundles weren't created by the manufacturer. Now, I recently did a video explaining the whole breakdown of how that policy is playing out and what exactly is changing. So if you need to see that just to kind of catch up to where we are today, I recommend checking that out down below. And we'll also make sure to link the video somewhere up here so you can see what that looks like. But ultimately, Amazon made a change that I'm going to pull up right now as a quick overview that on October 14th, 2024, you can only list bundles that are created and offered by the original manufacturer, who must be the brand owner for all of the items in the bundle. It means you can no longer mix products manufactured by different companies in the same bundle, nor can you list a bundle under the generic brand or your own brand. Now, when I made that video, I got a bunch of questions asking, well, what does this mean for multi-packs? Because I did say that this also applies for multi-packs, meaning if you've got 2 of the same product, that is a multi-pack. If you have 4 of the same product, that's a multi-pack. Versus if you have one flavor that's cinnamon and one that's peppermint, that's typically been considered a bundle, right? Now, Amazon looks at multi-packs the same exact way as they look at bundles in this case anyway. And so you need to make sure that the brand has been the one to create that multi-pack, just as the same scenario would be for a bundle of 2 different flavors or other complementary products needs to be created by the main brand of that particular bundle. And so how do we start to check for these things? I'm going to give you a couple of different examples. So let me go ahead and bring up my screen here. First, there is a GS1 database. Now, I covered this a couple years ago, but obviously not everyone knows all of my videos. And so the GS1 database is what Amazon uses to verify that a UPC code is actually tied to a particular brand. Now, I'll make sure to link the GS1 database down below in the description if you'd like to check it out. But essentially, you can search by the UPC, barcode number, company name, etc., to verify if a product is owned by that particular brand. And that's what we're going to need to do with multi-packs and bundles now moving forward, so that we know if a listing would be compliant with what Amazon is looking for. All right. So what I did is I went ahead and brought up a few different listings here, just looking up a Cheetos pack. It's not the best examples. These are pretty big brands, obviously, that I'm looking at, and big snack boxes, etc. But there's a couple different examples. One is this one. Now, this typically would be something that I would look at and try to evaluate if I could sell as an arbitrage seller, right? This doesn't look like Cheetos necessarily made this. They may have, but ultimately that's what we're going to be looking for. And as you can see, the brand here is QT Limited. So even though 600 people bought this product in the last month, according to Amazon, ultimately this bundle no longer applies. This is not going to be allowed unless Amazon has some other rule that comes out saying that if Cheetos themselves gives this brand authorization to list this way, then maybe they'd allow it. But that's not what the current rule says. So more than likely, this is going to be a bundle that gets taken down as it moves forward. We can see a ton of different sellers have been on this because it is a non-compliant bundle. Now let's go ahead and take a look at what the UPC actually pulls back. And so I'm currently using ASINZen or AZ Insight. It goes by a couple different names, but ultimately it's AZ Insight Advanced by ASINZen is what I'm using. And you can check that out at askjimmysmith.com/ASINZen. But if you go to this UPC and you copy this UPC, if you don't have ASINZen or RevSeller or something similar, you can scroll down to the details and find the UPC that Amazon is caring about. Now, then you go over to the GS1 database and enter in this barcode. You can search for that and see who owns it. Now, this is Skinner Ice is the one that owns this. So more than likely, whoever created this listing right here under the brand of QT Limited may not actually be the one that originally registered this UPC with GS1. And so they may have purchased this from a UPC reselling service, and that has not been allowed on Amazon for years at this point. You have to have GS1 barcodes. So this is how they're going to validate whether or not a multi-pack is actually a legitimate one based off who owns the UPC and which brand or manufacturer, right? There can be some brands where the manufacturer is Johnson & Johnson and they own the brand, and so it'll be allowed. But ultimately, it needs to match the brand and or the manufacturer. And so for this one, it says it's QT Limited. The person or company that actually owns it is Skinner Ice. So definitely this is a bundle or a multi-pack that is against Amazon policy, especially now moving forward, since this is in the consumables categories. Now, if we look at this would be another Replens type product that I would have said prior, hey, maybe check this out as a multi-pack or bundle, because look at the picture. It's not very good. And so this kind of shows it's a prime opportunity that other sellers are probably just creating this listing and throwing it up. And we're seeing a lot of sales sales, 300 per month, 400 per month, etc. Bunch of different sellers. If you can source these properly, sure, maybe test it out. This one actually says visit the Cheetos store. So it is tied to Cheetos, the brand. They may have come in and taken that over. But let's take a look at the UPC, and I'm actually going to scroll down to the details just in case you don't have AZ insight. And so we'll take that UPC and we will search for another product here in GS1. Let's see. This one is owned by Cheetos. Okay, now this is for Flamin' Hot Crunchy Cheetos. However, here's my concern with this is one that says a 2-ounce pack. This is not a 5-pack of 2 ounces of flaming Cheetos. So the UPC matches the brand, it matches the manufacturer, but it does not match what the actual product is. It says Cheetos Flamin' Hot Crunchy 2 ounces, but it is not a 5-pack UPC. It's individually, somebody put the UPC that's on the back of this one bag of Cheetos, and they just ended up putting 5 of them together. And instead, what we're going to want to look for is, I'm just going to click into this just so we can get a good example. This is Frito-Lay snack box. This is something that Frito-Lay, the manufacturer of Cheetos, has put together as a multi-pack to end up, being able to be sold. So if we scroll down and find the UPC, hopefully it's actually on here. You can see it's owned by Cheetos. Visit the Cheetos store. The product details should have it if we get down there enough. There we go. So here's the UPC. Now let's see who owns this and how it is currently listed, because this is actually sold by Amazon themselves. I did not test any of these out beforehand, so we're doing this real time. So this is owned by Frito-Lay company, and that's all that we have. Just owned by Frito-Lay. We don't know anything really about the product itself. And so ultimately we do know though that this is owned by Frito. It's a GS1 organization that licensed this, and it's not tied to any specific product, more than likely because it is for a multi-pack of all of these items. So according to Amazon's new bundling policy, you could sell on this if you found the Frito-Lay snack box at a Costco or a Sam's Club and you had approval to sell it, etc. If it was profitable enough, you could buy it and send it in because this UPC is registered for this multi-pack on Amazon. However, this one is registered to a completely different company. The brand doesn't even match Cheetos. I'm shocked this wasn't taken down already. And if it doesn't get taken down in the future, I'll be very confused because it doesn't match any of their policy. But this is one you'd want to avoid. And this one is one that is technically registered to Cheetos, but ultimately the 5-pack is not. So I would recommend avoiding this at this point. If you're looking to do multi-packs, I would look at things that are not consumables, or I would be looking for manufacturer created multi-packs to where you know that the UPC matches whatever that product is and who owns that brand. And so these are the things that you want to look for. Ultimately, GS1 database is what Amazon typically is going to be using to verify who owns the UPC, who owns that multi-pack, the brand, etc. And so that's what you're going to be utilizing. That link will be below and in the description. Ultimately, I recommend too, just in case the link ever changes, just Google GS1 database and do the lookup service. Pretty easy to find that, so you don't have to even look for the link that I provide. But ultimately, as you are going through this policy, what I recommend doing if you're an arbitrage seller, obviously avoid the consumables category if you're looking for any bundling type opportunities that somebody else owns or has created, because Amazon's going to be taking down the consumables. I do think that they will eventually take down the other ones. They're just starting with consumables. The second thing is to make sure and verify with GS1 who owns the UPCs that are tied to those Amazon listings. Amazon's been cleaning up the catalog for a long time. This is just the continuation of that. Third, if you are somebody that is trying to sell on Amazon, just try to do it right from the start. Don't try to operate in the gray areas. I know it may be difficult to figure that out, but ultimately, if there's a product that is selling on Amazon, make sure that it matches properly. Make sure that it's tied to the right brand. Avoid any of those little red flags where a different brand name is there, or the title doesn't match, or the picture is off, or something, right? Avoid those red flags, even if it's profitable and you can make money at it. It's just never worth it long term. It's one thing that I think has helped me out a lot, is that I have done my best to follow Amazon's terms of service. Not been perfect, but ultimately that has helped me. And then lastly, if you're someone that's looking to get into wholesale specifically, you can use this as an opportunity. If you're working with regional, niche, local brands, right? Some of the smaller ones, not the Frito-Lays, not the Nabiscos, not these huge brands that exist out there, but some of those regional sauces, those different types of items that aren't as largely known, you can go and speak with them. You can create these relationships to help them on Amazon. You can then take those relationships and turn them into profitable bundle or multi-pack opportunities where they're providing you the UPC code, allowing you to use that to your advantage, and you can grow that type of a business as well. It's not necessary, but if you have the experience and the desire to do it, it's a great opportunity right now as this policy has been changing. So if you're somebody that just wants to do arbitrage, tons of other products, tons of other opportunities that exist out there every day. We see success stories come through the communities that I'm a part of, and so I'm excited to be a part of those. And ultimately, these changes, they're no fun. Amazon has always been like this ever since I started in 2015. They make changes changes all the time. That's the one thing that has never changed, is that Amazon changes. And so this is just another piece of it. Ultimately, it's an opportunity to switch up your business model. If you lost a lot from this change, I apologize. I'm sorry that that's happened to you, even though it's not my fault, but I'm sorry that that has happened, because it's no fun. And I hope that this is something that you can use and move forward in the way that Amazon's hoping, or look at other platforms and other opportunities. Hopefully this video answers some questions for you. If you're interested in being a part of my advanced seller community called Business Building Legends, it's great to be around a few hundred people that are motivated and excited to move forward in their businesses with systems, procedures, and growing their businesses in multiple streams of income. You can check that out at askjimmysmith.com/legends. And if you're looking for a free community to talk about these changes with, then I recommend the My Silent Team Facebook group at bit.ly/MST group. Hope this video helps you and blesses you. You have a great rest of your day and a blessed rest of your week.